The narrative outlines the historical roots of the conflict, focusing on the Nakba of 1948, a pivotal event that resulted in the widespread displacement of Palestinians. This historical context is essential for a comprehensive understanding of the current situation. The video further emphasizes the significant ramifications of the October 7th attacks, which profoundly shattered the perception of Israeli invincibility and elicited a desperate response aimed at deterrence. This event is recognized as a critical turning point in the ongoing conflict. In this context, evidence of war crimes during Israeli assaults on Gaza emerges, underscoring the complicity and support from global powers, particularly the United States. Such revelations raise pressing questions concerning international accountability in conflict scenarios. Moreover, journalists and human rights workers are facing perilous risks in conflict zones, frequently becoming targets of systematic attacks. Their ongoing struggle for safety is exacerbated by the inherent dangers of documenting these significant events. The military use of artificial intelligence by Israel to identify potential targets introduces a range of ethical concerns, raising urgent questions about accountability in warfare. This technology evaluates individuals based on a variety of data points. The personal toll of warfare is starkly illustrated by the devastating losses suffered by journalists and their families, reflecting a troubling escalation in the targeting of individuals associated with media entities. Such occurrences evoke profound emotional responses within affected communities. In addition, influencers on social media are shaping the narrative of the conflict, often by mocking Palestinians and trivializing their suffering. Such behavior not only exacerbates existing tensions, but also contributes to the proliferation of misinformation. As Israeli ground troops advance further, families find themselves forcibly evacuating their homes under immense threat, vividly illustrating the dire conditions endured by civilians. Their desperate attempts to escape are marred by pervasive fear and violence. The widespread destruction of civilian properties raises urgent concerns regarding potential war crimes in accordance with international law. Reports detailing looting and a lack of military discipline underscore the chaotic nature of this enduring conflict. Furthermore, the unsettling popularity of disturbing videos within Israeli society forces a reckoning with societal attitudes toward military conduct and accountability. Alarmingly, such content is even shared on dating platforms, reflecting a concerning normalization of violence. Concerns mount as systematic abuses of detainees, including torture and humiliation, emerge as severe violations of international law. The documentation of such evidence is crucial in the ongoing pursuit of accountability. The destruction of civilian infrastructure is often framed as a punitive measure against Hamas, despite a notable lack of military justification for such actions. This approach starkly contradicts international humanitarian law, which expressly prohibits reprisals against civilian populations. The Israeli military's operations have resulted in extensive destruction, with a staggering number of buildings decimated, a stark reminder of the intensity of the conflict and its far-reaching consequences on civilian infrastructure. Currently, nearly 90% of Gaza's population has faced displacement at least once, perpetuating a state of constant fear and heightened alertness among residents. This ongoing anxiety severely disrupts their daily lives and adversely affects mental health. Among the most profoundly affected are children in Gaza, many of whom express a harrowing desire for death due to the relentless trauma they endure. This tragic reality underscores the urgent necessity for humanitarian aid and intervention. Further compounding the crisis, the Nasser hospital faces closure for 5 months due to ongoing attacks, spotlighting the dire state of healthcare in Gaza, which adversely impacts both patients and medical personnel. International military support for Israel, particularly from Western powers like the United States and the United Kingdom, raises significant concerns regarding their role and complicity in the ongoing violence, presenting serious legal implications. While claims suggest that Hamas utilizes civilians as human shields, substantial evidence supporting this assertion remains elusive. Interviews with civilians in conflict zones reveal no documented cases of such behavior. The Israeli army has drawn condemnation for targeting civilians in Gaza, a situation that brings moral implications to the forefront, especially regarding the use of human shields in military operations, thereby raising critical questions about accountability. Historical tactics such as the neighbor procedure illustrate how militaries exploit civilians in combat situations, leading to grave ethical and legal concerns surrounding civilian safety. Evidence gathered from organizations such as Al Jazeera points to a systematic pattern of utilizing civilians as shields during attacks, a troubling trend that demands increased international scrutiny and legal recourse. The targeted assaults on humanitarian aid workers in Gaza have also been documented, raising serious concerns regarding the safety of those dedicated to providing assistance. This reflects a disturbing trend of violence against aid operations. The extensive destruction of infrastructure in Gaza is alarming, with over 72% of buildings in northern Gaza reported as damaged or destroyed, further complicating the humanitarian crisis and access to essential services. International responses to this conflict reveal its intricate nature, with numerous nations continuing to provide military support to Israel, raising ethical questions regarding the perpetuation of violence. The ongoing discussion illustrates a broader disillusionment with accountability mechanisms, which appear to protect the powerful while neglecting the oppressed, highlighting systemic inequalities rampant in the international system. Actions taken by the Israeli military and their allies are increasingly viewed as violations of international law, leading to intensified scrutiny of the global response to these actions. The historically established idea of a rules-based order, championed by the West, is gradually exposed as a facade that primarily serves Western interests. This raises critical questions about the fairness of global governance.